They asked for my UI screenshot, and I copy and pasted the file name from my fucking computer as the screenshot. Dude, it was long. It was a long time ago, dude. It was really long. I was... All right. So, how I got my start in WoW. So, I started playing WoW when I was... Shit, how old was I? It was when Wrath of the Lich King was still out and ICC had already come out. Okay? So that... Oh, no. Wait. No. It was before that. It was like beginning of ICC, and all I ever did was level. So 2009. So 12 years ago? 12 years ago, I was 15. Okay, so I started when I was 15. I leveled real quick, got a girlfriend. She didn't like that I played WoW. I was like 2 levels from max level, and I quit. All right, broke up with that girlfriend about a year later. At that time, ICC was out, and I made it to level 80. I was playing a Hunter at the time. I was the biggest noob you could ever think of. I leveled from 70 to 80 entirely in Aspect of the Viper. If you remember at that time, Aspect of the Viper was the one where you like regained your whatever like mana instead of actually doing good damage. The mana regen one. So like I did like no damage at all. So a complete noob, I think, as most people are. But it was that time in WoW, I think, when everyone first starts playing where it's just like, I hate to use the word magical, but, you know, that it sounds dumb, but it's kind of true, you know? Like you look forward to going home after school and playing it. Or maybe if you're someone who skips school and playing it. And it's just like, it's different, dude. It's like, it's the first time most people experienced a true RPG in like its pure fashion. And it was just like insane. I think a lot of people have that feeling. The people who play WoW a lot and have played it for a long time always had that feeling when you first start. It's just insane. So I had that, but I was a total noob and I sucked. I made it to the max level, but then I re-rolled on a prot warrior named Stone Fury. Wait, first, before we go any farther, just to show you how much of an idiot I was at the time, here we go. This is the... Okay, I'm going to show you the character. The character still exists. Let's go to Duratan. There it is. His name is fucking Thundergooch, dude. So that was dumbass me. And then I had a listen to my fucking names when I was a noob, dude. I had a hunter named Thundergooch. I had a warlock named Infections. I had my warrior, which I re-rolled. Okay. I had a warrior which I re-rolled, and the warrior's name was Stone Fury. I made a guild called... It took me like 2 days to think of a guild name, and instead of it being a stupid guild name, I thought it should be super epic, and I named it the Smith Blades, which is my last name. Think about that. Insanely crazy. Like, that's fucking wild. I also wasn't on Duratan at the time. Yeah, dude, I was like totally immersed in the lore and the RP. So I played in ICC on my hunter and my warrior. I did not join any raiding guild at the time. Maybe you guys can relate, but I straight up just pugged ICC every week, and I sat and I got to the loot ship, and then you would either the group would die after the ship, or you would make it and kill Deathbringer Sourfang, and then your group would either die to not being able to kill Festergut or Rotface, or it would die to people fighting over Deathbringer's will and the raid leader like ninjaing it, and then the group would die. That was pretty common. And then I would go back to Dalaran and oogle over every... Okay, do you guys remember the gear score add-on? So I was a super big noob at the time, and I forget the guild on my server, but there was this holy paladin named Scuba, and he had 6.5k like gear score or something like that in ICC, like, and it had the red letters to it, and mine was like 5k something. It was like up in, yeah, it was up in the 6k, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that was like, it was like way up there, and they were like a super sick guild, I think. I mean, maybe not. I mean, they might have been like really low ranked or something, but I like looked up to them. I always saw that scuba guy as like this cool dude. Anyways, I then quit for a pretty long time. I got another girlfriend who did not like that I was playing WoW, and also I was like starting college, so I like didn't want to have like WoW interfere with that, which in hindsight was a pretty good decision. And that girlfriend, very needy, no time to do anything else. So broke up with her a year later, and I was in college, I was doing my thing, and I'm just like, you know what? Kind of want to play WoW again. So I play WoW in Firelands. I come back. I find a guild on Duratan named Late Night Sorcery, which is a hilarious guild name, fucking Late Night Sorcery, which was really cool. It was actually like the first time I ever experienced like real camaraderie. I like played a bunch of sports when I was younger. I played ice hockey for many, many years, travel hockey, played lacrosse in high school. You know, I was like that guy, I guess. But like, I've never felt more connected to people than I did that 10-man in Late Night Sorcery, clearing heroic Firelands bosses. We got up to Major Domo Staghelm in only like 4 weeks or 3 weeks or so as a casual-ish guild, raiding 2 nights a week before Dragon Soul came out. So I had to tank in that guild because our tanks were bad. Then I tanked basically for limit all the way up until Crucible of Storms. Then I DPS'd, and then I went back to tanking. So basically I was just tanking out of necessity because it was impossible to recruit good tanks. And then at that point, I felt like I had the aspiration to move on, and I left my friends behind. Me being young, I did not handle it well. In fact, I didn't tell them about it, and I kind of dipped, and they all definitely hated me for leaving because I was like kind of becoming a like secondary leadership position, and then I ended up leaving. So I kind of dipped. We got server first normal Dragon Soul in 10-man, and then I dipped to a 25-man guild, doing heroic the next week. And then I apped to a US top 20 guild, led by someone you may know as TM Sean. The guild was TM. And I'm now going to show you something I've never shown on stream before, my extremely fucking embarrassing guild application to my first guild. So let's go ahead and look at this. If you know how fucking if you know how ridiculous, if you like, dude, I was the biggest noob of all time, dude. Check this out. All right, the Gooch Feral Druid. Okay, if you notice within the I was accepted, not to brag that I'm maybe bearing the lead here, but I was accepted. I linked my armory. Now notice the third line, chat. Notice the profile picture's dumb. They asked for my UI screenshot, and I copy and pasted the file name from my fucking computer as the screenshot. Dude, it was a long time ago, dude. It was really long. I was Okay. And just look how just absurdly confident I am as just a dumb 18-year-old looking to get into I was 18. I was 18 and like new to WoW. And kind of an asshole. Can you play another spec? Yes, I play Boomkin off spec, but can spec Resto, know that perfectly. I was probably like really bad too, but I just let it rip, know that perfectly. And then after that we have, are you opposed to playing an off spec? No, I am not. After tanking for a while, I like to relax and do some dungeons. Boomkin and kill everyone. But that is not saying it would not be competitive in high-level raids. What are your professions? Leatherworking and skinning. Soon to be leatherworking and blacksmithing for 2 extra epic gems. Easily the most OP profession at this point, 4.3. This gets better, by the way. Previous guilds for leaving. Late Night Sorcerer on Duratan. I would only be leaving to join a guild that is hardcore, where no one ever stands in stupid shit. Imagine me thinking that's what it was actually true. Near perfect attendance, rarely ever makes faults. You could tell that I like wrote mistakes at first glance, and then I deleted it, and then wrote something that sounded more smart. And if they ever do, never make the same mistake twice. Ideally, where everyone is completely optimized. They know their class backwards and forwards, and then here's the best part, and can say that for all 10 classes for calling out raid walls and CDs from a raid leader POV. How would anyone expect to join a guild and have everyone know every single class in the game backwards and forwards. That's unrealistic in this guild that we're in now. Like, it's just ridiculous. Okay, rating experience. I only rated Firelands for progression for 5 weeks, if that. Bad attendance. Went 4 out of 7 heroic as a main tank. Dude, the whole main tank thing is hilarious to me. We went 8 out of 8 in Dragon Soul in 3 nights of rating without ever doing PTR fights. Never put real attempts on heroic Moorchalk because of poor attendance again. Why should we choose you over other applicants? I know my class as well or better than any other feral tank / cats out there. Ask me any question about it and I will tell you how to optimize and make yourself the best. Kind of true at the time. Like, I did feel like I knew a lot, but obviously I was like a huge fucking noob. All right, then more. Show us you know your class inside and out. Okay, the next, I think I have this actually in the next screenshot. All right, don't read to the bottom yet. Stay with me at the top. Was this TM Sean's guild? Yeah. My first top-end WoW guild was a TM Sean guild, yeah. Please show us you know your class inside out. This include anything from your classes. Theory crafting, rotation, gear options, gemming and enchanting, stat priorities, and World of Log parses. Like I said, I know this class as well or better than anyone, so I won't write a research paper for you, smiley face. Obviously, I'm going to skip the easy stuff. In the second week of 4.3, I switched to a full stam stack away from agility. I've done the math in Firelands content. That stam and agility were really close in stacking, but some of the fights were oriented for a dodge tank. So I sticked with the extra agility for the extra damage and dodge. This patch, however, with the 10% increase to stamina, it was a no-brainer to switch to stam. There are almost no fights that favor dodge tanks. Bigger health pool, you're actually able to reach the increased vengeance cap on most fights in Heroic Dragon Soul. Your savage defense ability is increased by the attack power from vengeance, and also much higher damage in fights where you don't switch from bear to kitty. I'm constantly respecting, I think is what I meant. Respecting to fit the fight, i.e. more spell mitigation, more damage. As far as my rotation goes, I have it completely memorized with the added variables of the fights. It is the most optimized damage rotation with optimum crits for regen health. With optimum crits with regen health and mitigation of all damage, i.e. you will never find a time where Demo Roar is not up or Pulverize is not up on the boss. I time my Berserks, using it as a defensive cooldown with my 2-set on heavy physical fights. With my 4-set will be called out and used by the raid leader, or if you wish, under my own discretion. Just as you're talking about how well I do defensively here. Listen, I had one button that I used as a defensive. This is how much of a noob I was. I had one button, and the macro name was oh shit, and it had bark skin, survival instincts, and like every other defensive ability in one button, and it's the only thing I ever hit. So if I was ever in danger, dude, I just fucking hit that button and we were good. Yeah, the reverse Swifty. Yeah, that's how bad I was, dude. Yeah, I was literally dog shit. Okay, and then let's see. I reglyph my frenzied regen on each fight depending on the effectiveness it could bring. Obviously, you guys with actual good healers, I will constantly keep it glyphed because the healers who know what they are doing would much rather have 30% heals on the raid instead of putting out hots and leaving me rage starved. I will not waste your time here, but as it goes for Kitty, I know it just as well, and Boomkin. And yes, I hate Boom Space Kin tier this patch. Dude, I sound like such an idiot. Also, I love to PvP, so any guild RBGs or arena, I would be a great compliment. Thank you so much for taking the time to look at my application. Okay, here's the best part. We raid Sunday through Thursdays. Raids start at 8 Eastern and end at 12 Eastern. Will you have any problems making these times? Not in a blue moon. Tongue out face. Computer information. 2011 MacBook Pro with Cataclysm mouse. Now, this has become a huge meme in our guild because just the fact that I wrote that, because I felt obligated to... Okay, so there's two parts of this. The fact that I said I had a Cataclysm mouse is the funny part. What's even more funny is I lied. I used a trackpad until like 2 raids from then. I literally lied so they didn't deny me for not using a mouse. So I never even owned a Cataclysm mouse. I literally just lied because I wanted to get in the guild. Dude, okay. Oh yeah, I probably clicked a few. I keep out most everything, but I clicked a few abilities. Okay, and then computer specs, you have a working microphone and mumble, yes, speed test, whatever. Okay. And then, okay, so in response to earlier, if you guys remember, at the very top, I linked my screenshot with this, right? Okay, check this out. My first reply after I posted it. My screenshot is being buggy. Let me keep trying. If it doesn't work, I use NUI with RAID DPS and HPS real-time graphs up along with recount and omen. What the fuck does that mean? What are real-time graphs? Does that literally just mean recount? Holy shit. So and me saying my screenshot, I linked the file name in my UI screenshot, and then I said my screenshot's being buggy. Oh my god. Okay. And then also another thing to add is that I have never been pulled off of before. So all DPS can DPS at the beginning of the pull and never wait for aggro. I run with a top 100 Frosty K with World of Logs, and he never can. He tries, tongue out face. And in my opinion, the threat buff was for people who don't know how to play. Dude. Oh my fucking lord. I was such a fucking douchebag. I can't get over how much of a douchebag I was. Okay, and then I get a response from a raider in the guild on the app. And this is the first time I ever raided with Dosu. December 18th of 2011, 10 years ago. Dosu responds and says, half of our players have been in the top 100. We even have a top 10 rep paladin. A tank should never have aggro problems, and it's good you're confident about your tanking ability. With this in mind, how well can you play your off-spec? Then I say, very well. I love playing Boomkin, and I would argue I can play it as well as anyone. Totally bullshit. Don't have much gear as it is offset. Maybe 383, not sure, but I pull good numbers, and Boomkins are way OP in some fights. True. Also for the raid, if it is a one-tank fight, I will buy 20 Agi Gems and re-enchant Glyph Reforge and respec and do melee if it's what it calls. I can also play Resto. I never played Resto, depending on what you need. I can... I don't even want to read this one, dude. I don't want to read this one, man. Oh. Okay, I can pull sick, nasty Resto numbers. Although I haven't played it since Firelands content, but I'm sure with a couple hours of optimizing and doing some math, I could be on top of my game again. I build up my knowledge and playing ability of all 4 druid playstyles because at some point, when it is a one-tank fight, you might need to go heals, melee, or ranged. Dude, this is such a bad idea. Okay, so that's all the highlights from the app and the responses. The very next response after this is, all right, you're accepted. I'll get in touch. I find out 3 weeks after I've been accepted, and I do Heroic Dragon Soul with them, that they accepted me by mistake. It was an accident. They meant to accept the other tank, and they literally recruited the wrong one. Obviously, because why would anyone recruit what this application is? So, all in all, the person who is now the world first raid leader at one point got his raiding start in the game by being recruited by accident. That's true. Okay, so after this point, we move on. We do Heroic Dragon Soul. If you guys remember the really wild TM Sean video, the one where he's like yelling at people in Dragon Soul, that was partially my fault, kinda. Well, their fault for doing it. But I tanked the Bloods on Spine as a Guardian Druid, and they decided. So our rival guild Duality was doing no buff clears and talking shit. The way they nerfed Dragon Soul was they gave you a buff every week. It ended up being like 20 or 25%. What some guilds were doing to prepare for the new expansion was turning it off and making the raid hard again. So Sean was like, all right, we're going to do that. So I go on a week-long trip to Nicaragua. Or no, that was not Nicaragua. That's when I left in Duality. That's later. I went on a week-long trip to Europe. I was in my group was singing and we went a lot of places. Most of Europe. And then when I come back, they decided to do a no buff clear with someone kiting Bloods on Spine for the very, very first time. Okay? So they've never had anyone else kite Bloods in the guild except for me and one other guy, and they used a different guy to kite the Bloods, and they wiped forever, and that's where the famous TM Sean video of I'm kicking you if you die on this attempt. Like that kind of shit. Do you guys remember that? Have you seen that? Like that video happened because I was out of town. We move on. We go into Miss Pandaria. So this is when I actually started getting good at the game. Was around Throne of Thunder. That's actually coincidentally when I got my first computer, Throne of Thunder. I raided the first raid. We got banned for doing... Do you guys remember the guild that got banned for killing Garajal and Mogashan Vaults by tanking it in the wall? That was our guild. We did that. So that was fun. And then we did Heart of Fear. It was just fine. After Terrace of Endless Spring, I left to Duality. But I was like I'm trying to describe myself. I was like the fucking worst. Like I was someone who was really, I became really good at the time, but I knew I was good. And obviously anyone who's like that is pretty insufferable. So I was pretty insufferable. I joined Duality's raid on my first night and I was just talking and I got in like the healer binds and 2 other binds and I was rubbing half the guild the wrong way. And then I basically did not feel welcomed because a bunch of people did not like me for good reason. So then after my first raid, I transferred back to my old guild, the TM guild again. And then the next reset, I went back. So I literally went to Duality, didn't like it because I was a huge bitch, came back to the guild I was at before, realized I still wanted to leave, and then went back to the guild before the next reset happened. So yeah, 5 out of 10 loyalty. So I did that. And then I raided in Duality, and that's when I got pretty good. That was probably the first time as a DPS player, Siege of Orgrimmar and Throne of Thunder, where I was like doing really, really well. We didn't public log, but I made friends with Fragments at the time on accident. So I was, as I was a very arrogant piece of shit, I was talking shit, not to like anyone in particular, but I was just saying that I was doing a ton of damage on Feral Druid. And then someone in another guild wanted to troll me, so they got me in a call with Fragments at the time. And I believe, and I haven't ever asked him this, but I believe that call was made from someone whispering him saying, hey, this dog shit Feral Druid in this guild is talking shit. And he's saying he's the shit. You want to join a call with him and just like prove him wrong because he doesn't have public logs? So we joined the call, and I'm pretty sure Fragments joined the call to flame me. And then, so he wanted me to link him all my logs in private. And then I did. And then he was like, oh, wait, you're actually good. And then Fragments and I, that's how Fragments and I in 2013 became really good friends. And then from that point on, I was playing Feral with Rune and Siege. I was hanging out with him and Zandy and Nakosta and who would never know from Paragon, Alzu from Paragon, just like a Skype group call every day, just hanging out, playing Curve Fever and talking shit. And we all just cared about like damage parses and shit. And that's just like what it was. Me and Fragments went back and forth every week for #1 Feral Druid on Pro Raiders. And that's, I mean, I cared about it so much at the time. I literally had a folder typed rank 1s that I just posted all my rank 1s in there. Like that's how much of a fucking asshole I was at the time. That folder has since been deleted a long time ago. And then that was like the end of me playing Feral. I went and then Highmaul started, and now we have some more video content. So this was the kind of player I was at the time. I'm going to now give you a picture to go with all of the descriptions I've given of you of myself when I was younger. Okay? So this is who I was. That's me in my college apartment, and if Voodoo's here with the fireplace. Okay? In fact, I'll even get rid of my camera for a second. So that's me with my piano in my college apartment, with a fireplace, with a fucking spiky haircut, wearing a fucking flannel shirt. And then we're doing Butcher, okay? Now, I can't play the music because of DMCA, which is unfortunate, but it's a song called Ghost by Mako. And if you want to watch this, the kind of player I was at the time, I had Discord, or sorry, at the time Mumble open so I didn't get in trouble. So I had it unmuted, but I played my music so loud that I could never hear what anyone said. And then I did the entire fight without ever hearing anyone. And then again, just to show you, so this is the end of the boss. I actually did well. I was #1 by 2K, just normal young max shit, okay? We kill the boss, and then I decide after killing the boss, I only did 35k on this pull, which was more than any other person I saw do on this boss in week 1. So I uploaded another video. Keep in mind, my thing is butcher kill yo meh pull. That was my fucking description on our kill. So I make another video uploading a wipe where I happened to be doing more damage than when we killed it. Playing the same song at full volume without being able to hear anyone. Post-nerf 36k and rising. Why'd we wipe? I cry every time. Watch live at twitch.tv/maxscope. So as you could tell, I was the fucking worst. We'd go through Blackrock Foundry, and that is when we actually make limit. So that is when I went on the week-long charity trip to Nicaragua to go build some houses for children with special needs. Because down there in Nicaragua, this is a little side caveat. It's the third poorest country in the world, or it was at the time. And if you have a child with like mental disability, they often get abandoned. So they stay in houses, and like I was just building shit for them. During that trip, I had talked with Truefire and a few other people to make limit, which was like an intersection of like a bunch of different guilds. I'll do a separate video on like the history of limit, or a separate conversation, I guess. But just for me personally, when we played Wildstar, all those guilds met in Wildstar and Siege of Orgrimmar Farm, and like we had this call and a big Skype call over that Nicaragua trip. And then when I came back, me, Preheat, and Tags left Duality to join Limit. I did not start out as the raid leader of Limit. I was an officer. I was still young Max. In fact, I looked back at some of our old kills in HFC. You can hear me talk mid-pull, and it's just like, oh my god. But I also, in a way, I think if you don't look at stuff you said like 4 or 5 years ago in your 20s, and you don't like cringe when you listen to yourself talk, you're not really growing, are you? You know, so I'm okay with that. It wasn't really raid leader or leadership material yet. One day before Legion launched, we got World 7th in HFC, by the way, which was pretty good in our first raid. Raiding, not 7 days a week. It was like 6 on average, I think. We did 7 first week, 6 second week, 5th, third week, 5 days. Yeah, I quit WoW actually right after HFC, our first raid. I had a full-time job. I was full-time in school, and I had a full-time girlfriend. And I had absolutely no time to play WoW. And I just quit during farm, but then joined back again before Emerald Nightmare. But that time away from WoW really taught myself how to... It taught me to value WoW. Because I think at that time, I went through the normal thing that most people go through. There's like this WoW stigma. There's the when are you going to stop playing this game and go on with the rest of your life thing that existed way more, you know, a long time ago. The stigma still exists, but it's a lot easier to say you play video games now than it used to be. So I did all the, like, I had a good job, was in school, cleaning girlfriend, all that stuff. And then I realized then that WoW, I connected more with my guildies in WoW than I did any of my real life friends. And I was just generally happier when I was playing WoW. So I broke up with the girlfriend, not because of WoW, but because of other reasons. Still had the job, still was in school, but then came back to WoW before Legion. We go into the next raid, and it's Emerald Nightmare. Our raid leader quits literally on the day that Legion comes out. So I become the raid leader with no raid leading experience other than very briefly in Wildstar. That Wildstar was actually my first full-on raid leading experience. Obviously, when I started out on it, I was really fucking bad. I have another video telling you how I like kind of grew in the raid leading aspect, but you know, I got better at it. And then basically through raid leading from there till now, I just became me. I guess obviously a lot of people grow up. I think as you guys now see how I was younger, I think when we've recruited talent over the years, I've never really been afraid to recruit people that were a lot like how I was when I was younger. In fact, I think most really good players you recruit at some point really only cared about damage. For some reason, that's just usually true. Like at some point, and they usually grow out of it, but like that was something they once cared about, and that's really how you like build those skills, kind of. So I've never been afraid of recruiting someone who's a huge asshole, because I myself, I feel like, has grown out of that a lot. So I'm not really, you know, afraid of taking that on. I feel like if you put people in the right environment, you know, when you see an 18-year-old, 20-year-old in WoW, or in general, they're just like amoebas that act like the people around them. You know, you don't really know who you are for a while, or most people don't. So, you know, if you put people in the right environment where you can have fun and do well, you know, usually they end up all right. So, yeah, so somehow a person who was a complete noob that got accepted to a top 20 US guild on accident at some point became the raid leader of the best guild in the world. Very weird, but it happens, you know?